did you know that claiming the wrong benefit in the UK could actually put your visa at risk? Many migrants are caught out because they don't fully understand what counts as public funds and what doesn't. In this video, I'll break it down clearly: which benefits you're not allowed to claim, which ones are safe, and how to avoid costly mistakes that could affect your immigration status. So, what exactly are public funds? The UK Home Office has a very specific list of what counts as public funds, and if your visa says no recourse to public funds or NRPF, then these are the benefits you are not allowed to claim. This includes the most common forms of welfare support such as universal credit, child benefit, housing benefit, and council housing support, pension credit, income support, income-based job seekers allowance, income-related employment and support allowance, ESA, working tax credit and child tax credit, disability living allowance or personal independence payment, PIP, if not linked to contributions. In short, most welfare-style benefits that are designed to support people on low incomes, or to cover housing and living costs, are classed as public funds. And here's the key point: claiming even one of these benefits when your visa does not allow it is a breach of your conditions. The Home Office keeps a record of applications and cross-checks with the Department for Work and Pensions. So even if the money is only paid for a short period, it could show up later when you apply for a visa extension, ILR, or citizenship, and it can lead to a refusal. That's why it's so important to know exactly what is and isn't classed as public funds. Now, here's where things often get confusing. Not everything in the UK that involves government money is classed as public funds. In fact, there are several important services and benefits that migrants can use safely, even if their visa has the NRPF condition. Let's start with healthcare. Access to the NHS is not classed as public funds, as long as you've paid the immigration health surcharge, which most migrants do when applying for their visa. You're entitled to use the NHS just like anyone else. Emergency treatment is also available regardless of status. The only exception is some specialist support like free prescriptions or disability allowances, which are still linked to public funds. Next is education. If you have children, they are entitled to a free place in a state school up to the age of 18. School meals for younger children are also covered. This is not considered public funds, and the Home Office is clear about that. There are also some contribution-based benefits that migrants may qualify for if they have worked in the UK and paid enough national insurance contributions. For example, contribution-based job seekers allowance or contribution-based employment and support allowance are not classed as public funds. These are earned through your own work record, not welfare handouts. Other things that are not public funds include paying rent privately, paying council tax, or using public services like libraries and transport. So remember this rule of thumb: if it's a welfare benefit designed to support low-income households, it's usually public funds. But if it's something you've already paid for through visa fees, national insurance, or taxes, like the NHS or state education, it's not classed as public funds. And what about council tax? This is a common question. Paying council tax is not public funds. And if you get a single-person discount or a student exemption, that's also not public funds. It's simply a tax adjustment. However, if you apply for a council tax reduction or council tax support because of low income, that is classed as public funds and is not allowed under NRPF. So here's the rule of thumb. If it's a welfare benefit to support low-income households, it's usually public funds. But if it's something you've already paid for through fees, taxes, or national insurance, it's not public funds. So now that we know what counts as public funds and what doesn't, the next question is, who actually has this condition called no recourse to public funds or NRPF on their visa? In short, most temporary visa holders in the UK will see this restriction. That includes skilled worker visa holders. Even if you're working in the NHS, social care, or other skilled roles, your visa will usually come with the NRPF condition. Students and their dependents, those on student visas, are not allowed to claim public funds either. Family dependents, for example, if you're here as the spouse or child of a skilled worker, you're also covered by the same restriction. Many other routes like visitor visas, seasonal worker visas, and temporary work visas also come with NRPF. The condition is normally printed directly on your biometric residence permit, BRP, or displayed in your digital e-visa account. You'll often see the words, "No recourse to public funds." What this means is that throughout the time you're on that visa, you cannot claim the restricted benefits we talked about earlier. However, It's important to note that once you reach indefinite leave to remain, ILR, or certain protected routes such as refugee status, this restriction is lifted. At that point, you have the same access to public funds as British citizens. So, what happens if someone with NRPF claims public funds, whether by mistake or on purpose? The consequences can be very serious. If you apply for a benefit you're not entitled to, the Department for Work and Pensions will usually flag this to the Home Office. Even if the benefit is paid to you for a short time and then stopped, the record remains on your file. When you next apply for a visa extension, indefinite leave to remain, or British citizenship, the Home Office can look at your history. If they see that you've claimed public funds when your visa didn't allow it, they may decide you have breached your visa conditions. The possible outcomes include your visa application being refused, your current visa being curtailed or cancelled, and in serious cases, it could even affect your right to remain in the UK altogether. The Home Office is very strict on this. They take the view that migrants must follow the visa rules exactly. That's why even accidental claims, like someone not realizing that universal credit is public funds, can still cause problems later. In short, claiming public funds when you're not entitled is a risk that can cost you your future in the UK. That's why it's so important to know the difference and stay on the safe side. So how can you make sure you stay safe and avoid problems with your visa? The first step is always check before you apply for any benefit. The UK government has an official list on gov.uk that sets out exactly what counts as public funds and what doesn't. That should be your go-to reference point. Second, remember the general rule. If it's a welfare payment to support low income or housing, it's usually public funds. But if it's something you've paid for through your visa fees, your taxes, or your national insurance contributions, like NHS services, state education, or contribution-based benefits, then it's generally fine. Third, if you're ever unsure, get professional advice before applying. It's much safer to ask in advance than to risk a refusal later when you need to renew your visa or apply for ILR. And finally, always check your own visa documents. Your BRP card or digital visa will clearly say if you have the NRPF condition. That's your reminder of what you can and cannot claim while you're on that visa. So, to recap, understanding public funds is absolutely essential if you're living in the UK on a visa. Claiming the wrong benefit, even by mistake, could risk your status. But knowing the difference between what counts as public funds and what doesn't will help you stay safe and protect your future. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Did you already know about the NRPF rule? Or was this new information for you? Drop your thoughts and questions in the comments below. And if you want to stay ahead on every UK immigration update, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Turn on notifications for quick updates. Thanks for watching, and remember, knowledge is the best protection against visa trouble. Disclaimer: this video is for informational purposes only. It does not constitute legal or immigration advice. Always check the latest UK Home Office guidance or speak to a qualified immigration advisor for advice specific to your situation.